Your turn.
My turn.
Yeah.
You got the better voice. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Opposite Saxes. It is Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Thank
good?
you.
Because I'm always the one that says, well, hello, everybody. And I thought, throw it in her lap once in a while.
And you did. You literally threw it in my lap.
And you did very, very well.
Well, I better. I better know what I'm talking about.
Because you're the opposite sex.
Yes.
How y'all doing today?
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for dropping by. We're going to talk a little bit about food.
Something very near and dear to our heart.
It's probably near and dear to everybody that's watching and listening, but I don't think we're going to talk about we're not talking about our favorite food. We're not going to talk about bitter foods. We're not going to talk about rich, expensive foods.
Actually, what we're talking about is gut health.
That's I haven't heard that term in a while. It is.
It's a little older term, but when it came out 15, 18 years ago, and the doctor mentioned it to me, I thought, gut health, isn't that for the gastroenterologist? Maybe not for the neurologist with the headaches and the autoimmune deficiencies and all that. Gut health is like the number one.
It's knowing what's going past your lips.
Yeah, and it has everything to do with your body, because one thing leads to the other, but most of it is stored in your gut, and
it changes over the years.
It does, but I mean, basically, you're still at the no gluten, and a lot of people it doesn't bother. Gluten or wheat doesn't bother them, which is wonderful. But technically, you're supposed to get off of that. Do all vegetables and fruits and fish.
You've been off of gluten for how many years? 30?
Oh, no. No.
Close.
No, maybe 20, maybe, if that.
And the only downside to, and you're finding more and more places do offer gluten-free options on their menus. And it's probably because a lot of people that with celiac or
Crohn's, colitis,
any of those where you needed to curb or eliminate wheat products. I mean, I remember when we used to walk into restaurants and ask if they had gluten-free buns.
They looked at me like I was
for the burgers, and they looked
crazy.
like what?
Yeah, now it's
gluten-free, and now very often when you look at the menu, there will be a symbol there that will say we have gluten-free options. It's usually an upcharge, but at
that point I don't mind it. But even the gluten-free pizza crust, you can get that whenever you order your pizzas.
The other night we ordered from an Italian restaurant, and they offer a gluten-free pasta option for any dish that has a regular pasta. You can order it with a gluten-free. Usually it's a penny pasta. That's
and I can honestly say the gluten-free anything, unless it's somebody, and we do have a bakery that bakes it very well, and everything that they bake is moist and fresh, and it doesn't seem like it's gluten-free. But the majority of the bakers, the cooks, the restaurants, gluten-free can be much drier. It can be harder.
Tasteless.
It's tasteless,
very
and
often.
It can be harder in consistency.
Yeah, that's what you've often talked about. It just had no flavor. But you're talking about this specialty gluten-free shop that we have near us,
and
they have cookies and muffins and cupcakes that are to die for. I mean,
but
I think it would be hard to bite into one of those cupcakes, as moist as they are, and say, I think you gave me the wrong cupcake. That this can't be gluten-free.
They're not all stellar, but most of them are. But that's what this company does 24/7. That's all they do.
The people that own it and run it are gluten-free people. And so because they know, they have researched the market
have.
to get the product and the ingredients that are gluten-free that will give it the flavor.
Yeah.
I remember
will.
down when we lived down in the Florida Keys, there was a creperie. We had a good friend that had a little French bistro, and he made crepes. That was his go-to. Well, crepes are made with wheat, and you can't really do that much. He says, "Let me look into it." And within a week or something, he let us know that he could now make buckwheat crepes, and using buckwheat, which even though
It says
the word
has
has
wheat
the
in
word wheat in it, buckwheat is a different kind of a grain, and
Right.
he made the most delicious,
Yeah.
gluten-free crepes.
But yeah, and a lot of these baked goods, a lot of these foods without gluten, unfortunately, they can only stay refrigerated so long. They only stay fresh for so long. And that's the other problem. A lot of the other places, the delis, the bakeries, they don't want to do gluten-free items because they can't stay on their shelves.
The shelf life, yeah, is shorter.
And the ingredients are much more expensive.
Yeah.
So it's a double whammy. But not only are we talking gluten-free, but we're just talking about good gut health. And it's very hard if you're not used to
And that
fruits, vegetables, and fish.
that usually means preservatives and additives.
That's
right?
out. It's out. It's out. Your sister was right when she told me many, many years ago. Look at the ingredients.
If there's
and
more than
if
4 or 5.
yeah, it's usually a few more than that. But so as long as there aren't 25 ingredients, you should be doing okay. And if it doesn't, you don't want it to have gluten or wheat or flour, but you also don't want it to have corn syrup, either corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup. That
Which,
also has been a no-no for 20
Right.
years.
which if you look at almost every soft drink, it
Yeah,
has high
it does.
fructose corn syrup.
Except,
And if you go to the diet soft drinks, you're trading off the high fructose corn syrup for the sweetener aspect with aspartame and saccharin
yeah,
and those artificial things, which are also then considered bad additives to add. You started drinking Coca-Cola made in Mexico.
Mexican Coca-Cola.
Mexican
All the
Coca-Cola.
grocery stores have that now.
Yeah, because it's made with pure cane sugar.
Well, that's the other thing. They took the corn syrup out of it, but it's got a heck of a lot of sugar.
Well,
So if you don't get
right.
the headaches from the corn syrup, you're probably going to get the headaches or the problems in your stomach from all the sugar. So sometimes I cheat a little bit and I'll have a regular Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so the answer is stick to water.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
And I take a step further and I do tea. But I got to be careful with some of the tea that I get because again, when you start to see the additives and the preservatives, which I had a guest on my someone you should know program that talks specifically about additives, and we talked about the fact that going back 50 or 60 years ago, that's when they started packaging meat in plastic wrap, and it had a preservative and an additive inside the to keep a longer shelf life for that, the old Oscar Mayer bologna that you used to buy in the package. It beat going to the butcher and having it sliced fresh, but 20, 30 years later, they had some studies that showed that little liquid that was in those plastic containers, if you had enough of it in your system and all, it could be cancer causing.
Well, I think anything at this point could probably cause cancer.
It's because it's a shortcut.
But you have to, yes, right. But you have to just be logical about it and try and be a little smarter about it and just not last on Twinkies. And do they have those anymore?
Twinkies?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Hostess cupcakes, Oreos, all those goodies.
and they're not gluten-free.
No, the Oreos are now gluten-free.
They now have gluten-free
I
Oreos.
haven't had them.
Yep.
Oh, I did. Yeah, we did have them, and
Yeah.
you really couldn't
Yeah.
tell much of a
They
difference.
did some good
I was
research
impressed.
on that.
Yeah, I was impressed. They were quite good now that I
Yeah.
remember that. But yes, it's good gut health, watching what you eat. Some people, I have a couple of relatives in the family that every few months they will do a cleanse. And they will fast for a couple days.
It's not like what you do before a colonoscopy.
Well, almost. They take a liquid and they drink it and they don't have any food for a day or two.
It's like a Roto-Rooter type of a.
They say it can be very beneficial.
I'll bet it can.
I don't think it's
It's not pleasant,
hard on
but
your
it's beneficial.
This cleanse. I don't think it's as hard.
But I mean, so basically what we're saying is that all of those underdeveloped countries and those indigenous people who have lived off of organically grown
Yep.
produce,
Yeah.
they're living to be in their hundreds and
And that's
everything.
why.
There's a reason why, is because they are not consuming things that have been preserved for any kind of reason.
Right. That's right.
They go out to the stream and they catch their fresh fish and cook it without any additives or preservatives.
Yeah. It's not a fun topic to talk about. It's not thrilling to talk about, but it's a must.
I guess
that I think people have to know about.
Yeah.
You have to educate yourself on what's good and what's not so good for the body.
gut health,
Gut health.
right?
Gut health.
All right. So we'll leave you this show by saying happy gut health to you. Go out and feed your gut with something good. See you next week.
Bye.